So now we want to look at how we find the equation of a line. The equation of any straight line can be expressed in the form y equal to mx plus c, where m represents the gradient or the slope and c represents the y-intercept, or where the graph touches the y-axis. Now, to determine the gradient, to determine the equation of a line, we need two things. We need the gradient and we need a point that the line passes through. Good? So we know equation for any straight line is y equal mx plus c. Alright? Where m is the gradient and c is the y-intercept. Now notice for this problem we are asked to find the equation. We are given the gradient of 4 and we are told the line passes through the point 1, 5. So we're going to substitute 1, 5. And we're going to substitute m equal 4 into y equal mx plus c. And 1, 5, when you substitute 1, 5, just note that the x value here is 1, right? And the y value is 5. So our job is to find the value of c. So I will substitute these values into y equal mx plus c. So y, the y value there, that's 5. The m value there, that's 4, that's a gradient. The x value here, that's 1. So where we have x, we replace it with 1. And then we have our plus c. So y replaced with 5. And that's why we need a point on the line, always, because we use a point to substitute for y and x. The first value for x, the other value for y. Good? So we have 5 equal 4 plus c. So we need to find the value of c, so we can subtract 4 from both sides, or group. So we have 5 minus 4 equal to c. So we take 4 from the right hand side, we are left with just c. And then we also have to take 4 from the left hand side. Alright, so c is 1. Good, so c is 1. In other words, if you should sketch this line will cut the y-axis at 1. And we're going to look at sketching the line a little later from now in subsequent videos. Good, so c is 1. So therefore, equation of the line is always y equal mx plus c. But you have to put in the value for m, which we were given. M is 4, the gradient. So 4x, and c, we just calculated c. So that's our solution. Equation for the line is y equal to 4x plus 1. Let's look at another one. Next problem. Determine the midpoint and the equation of the line. And determine the midpoint and the equation of a line segment whose endpoints are -2, 3 and 2, 11. So let's deal with the midpoint first. Do we remember the formula for midpoint? Yes, midpoint. Just simply average the x values and average the y values, right? Before I continue, let me just give some labeling to these points. Let me call this x1. So this would be called y1. And let me call this x2. And hence I do call this y2. So midpoint is a point where there's an x coordinate, and we'll get the x coordinate by averaging the two x values. And we'll get the y coordinate by averaging the two y values. Hence, when we add the two x values, we get -2 plus 2 over 2. And when we average the two y values, we get 3 plus 11 over 2. And then now this becomes now, the numerator is -2 plus 2, that's 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0, right? And then 3 plus 11 That's 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So the midpoint of this line is 0, 7. Let's look at how we find the equation now. So now we want to find the equation of a line. But remember, to find the equation of a line in a straight line, remember you need two things, right? You need the gradient and you need a point. Now we have 2 points that it passes through, so that's not a problem. Alright? Matter of fact, we have 3 points it passes through, because it also passes through the midpoint. So we have the endpoints and we have a midpoint. So we have at least 3 points this line passes through. So what we need to know now is the gradient of this line. Alright? So let me just use the same 2 points and find the gradient of the line. And if you use a midpoint, with any of these two, then you will get the same gradient. Alright, so gradient. So M, which is what we call the gradient, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is 11 minus y1, which is 3, over x2, which is 2, minus x1, which is minus 2. So what we have here, 11 minus 3, that's what? 8, over 2 minus minus 2, that's 2 plus 2, which is 4. Good? So M is 2. So now we need to find C. So we need to find C. So find C. How do we go about finding C? How did we find C in the last example? We use this form always to find C, right? Y equal mx plus C. And then to find C, we substitute any one of the 3 points that we know. We know to say it passed through the midpoint. We know negative 2, 3. We know 211. Let me use 211. So we sub 211 and we sub the M value. We know M is 2. M is a gradient. And if I'm substituting M at 211, of course, the X is 2. X is the first number. And the Y is 11. So plug in these values into Y equal mx plus C. I replace the Y with 11. I replace the M with what we found it to be 2. The X here is also 2 plus C. So 11 equal 4 plus C. Now I want the C by itself, right? So I need to deduct 4 from each side. So deduct 4 from the right hand side. I'm left with just C. And I deduct 4 from this side, right? So it's 11 minus 4. 11 minus 4. What's 11 minus 4 now? 7. C equal to 7. Alright? So equation is, let's put it up here. Equation is, put it up here. No space. Equation of the line is y equal mx. What is m? M is 2, so 2x plus whatever the value of c is. In this case, 7.